nearer, Gideon Sneevil. Oh, stop him, Blondie.
Now, Aunt Bessie, no one's going to harm you. Why not listen and hear why Mr. Sneevil's come here?
Sure, Aunt Bessie, be reasonable.
Oh, I'm unreasonable, am I? Because I won't listen to his smooth tongue? Well, let me tell you that I've been listening for years, and I believed him, too. I was just fool enough to think he meant it when he said he'd give me a good home.
I did give you a good home, but I didn't promise a home for your whole family, especially Sylvester and Horace, those termites.
Don't make it any worse by cursing, Gideon Sneevil.
Isn't there any way of patching this up?
Yeah, if those fellas would leave.
Leave? Sylvester wouldn't get off that couch if the house was on fire. I tried it.
Yes, he frightened me out of my wits one morning, hollering fire.
Oh. Yes, and all Sylvester said was, which room? And I said the kitchen was in flames. And Sylvester said, well, when it gets close to here, call Horace and ask him to carry me out.
Oh, I won't sit here and listen to no more lies. I'll go out into the night again.
Now, Aunt Bessie...
No, she won't have to go. I'll go. Hand me that anchor and those lovebirds.
Don't lay so much as a finger on those birds. They're mine.
Now, Uncle Gideon, give Aunt Bessie the bird.
Dagwood, you keep out of this.
Who paid for those birds, I'd like to know?
There he goes, throwing his money in my face. Oh, where's my hat?
It's upstairs, Aunt Bessie.
Let me be, Blondie. This is what I get for marrying beneath me.
Huh.
I was too young to know what I was doing.
You mean you was too old to care?
Oh, it's false, Gideon Sneevil. As false as your second best teeth.
You leave my keys out of this.
Oh, keep him away from me. Don't let him touch me.
Hey, Mr. Sneevil, wait.
No wife of mine can talk that way about my teeth. What about that transformation you wear?
Oh, dear. Oh, lock the front door, Dagwood. Don't let anyone in.
You'd better not go up there, Blondie.
I've got you, Dagwood, and keep them quiet. Goodness, that may be Mr. Dithers at the door.
Oh, no. I hope not.
Motion.
It is. Welcome to Honeymoon Cottage.
What was all that yelling I heard?
The honeymooners.
What?
It's Aunt Bessie and Uncle Gideon. They had a little misunderstanding.
Now listen to me, Bumstead. Oh, my foot! What's that I fell over?
Just an anchor.
An anchor?
Uh-huh.
What's that doing in the hall? What's this trunk here for and all this luggage? Why don't you turn on some lights?
Well, they'll be on any minute now, I think.
I distinctly told you, Bumstead, that Stipple wanted warm, soft light streaming from the windows, and I find the house dark as a smuggler's cave. I told you like romance, and I find the hall full of luggage as if someone was being evicted. I said Stipple wanted to see a happy couple sitting in contentment before their own fireside. And I find the place full of your relatives, making the night hideous with their uproar.
Oh, they'll quiet down.
Listen to that! Now get those people out of here, Bumstead, before I turn in a riot call.
Yes, sir, but let me explain.
You can explain that in the morning. Stipple's coming tonight. And it'll look fishy if I'm here, or try to head him off. He'll be here any minute, and if he stumbles into this shambles, it'll cure him of romance forever, and lose me a good customer and cause you a bad headache, Bumstead.
I got a little headache now.
Well, you practice getting used to that one, Bumstead, because unless you get me out of this quicker than you got me into it, you're going to be a stretcher case.
Hey, wait. Oh, golly. Hey, Blondie!
Thousands of smokers have switched to Camel cigarettes and found extra mildness, coolness, and finer flavor in Camel's slower-burning, costlier tobaccos. But Camels also give you a generous bonus of extra smoking per pack. By burning 25% slower than the average of the 15 other of the largest selling brands tested, slower than any of them, Camels give a smoking plus equal to 5 extra smokes per pack. Smokers who live in communities where certain state cigarette taxes are in effect can save the cost of the tax, and in some instances more, through smoking Camels. If you live in a community where there are no added taxes on cigarettes, the savings are all yours. So turn to Camels. Your sense of taste, your sense of value will quickly tell you that penny for penny, Camels are your best cigarette buy.
Blondie! Hurry up, will you?
Yes, dear, here I am. Oh, did Mr. Dithers go so soon?
He didn't go any too soon for me. He was pretty mad, Blondie. He said Mr. Stipple would just be rambling onto stumbling onto something like that.
Oh, dear. Did he hear Bessie and Gideon?
Oh, how could he help it? What was that crash? Who threw what at who?
Oh, that wasn't anything. I just dropped a bottle of cologne I was bathing Aunt Bessie's forehead with.
Oh.
She has a bad headache.
You mean she is a headache?
Now, Dagwood, it's just that they're getting adjusted to marriage after living alone so many years. I feel sorry for them both right now.
Maybe I'd feel sorry for them if I had time. But Stipple will be here any minute looking for a romantic honeymoon couple sitting by the hearth. And we haven't got one.
I know. And I feel responsible because it's my Aunt Bessie. Oh, look, Dagwood.
What?
The little hall light's burning. The electricity must be on.
Oh, turn it out. If Stipple sees a lot of lighted windows, he'll be here like a shot. He's crazy about it. Hey, who's that standing in the hall?
Why, Uncle Gideon.
Oh, eavesdropping again, huh?
I'm afraid I was. Do I understand that my disagreement with Bessie has embarrassed you young people?
I'll say.
Dagwood.
Well, it has. My whole job depends on it, maybe. And see, there's a fella coming who thinks marriage is a fine thing.
A bachelor, huh?
Yeah, huh?
Well, yes, but he has a lovely idea, Uncle Gideon. He wants to provide low-cost homes for couples where they can find peace and contentment. Little houses like this, just for two.
Just for two?
Mm-hmm.
Good idea. My marriage might not be the wreck it is if I'd had a guest-proof home. Well, if I could help in any way.
Well, you could, by being the example of a happy married couple. Only you need Aunt Bessie to...
Then it's hopeless, my boy.
Oh, is that so?
Oh,
and
Bessie.
why, may I ask?
Aunt Bessie, you were listening too.
Yes, I was. And if I were speaking to Mr. Sneeble, I would tell him that I was just as able to cooperate with my nephew as he is.
Did you hear that, Uncle Gideon? She said...
I heard her. You may tell Mrs. Sneeble that I, for one, would be willing to impersonate a happily married man for the period of the emergency.
Aunt Bessie, Uncle Gideon says...
I heard him. I can hide my feelings, too, while the company's here.
Oh, I think that's very nice of you both. Now, while I'm turning on the lamps, would you sit together over by the fire?
Yeah, right over here. Come on. Look, Blondie, the fire's beginning to burn, too.
Everything's looking a little brighter, Dagwood. Now, sit down, Aunt Bessie.
Yeah. Now, you sit next to Uncle Gideon. Now, how does that look, Blondie?
Well, it would look a little more honeymoony if they wouldn't sit up quite so straight.
Mm-hmm. And there's too much space between them. Get together.
Well, if you'll be good enough to tell Mrs. Sneeble that I don't want to force my attentions on her, I'll meet her halfway.
Oh, listen, Aunt Bessie, he says...
I heard him. And you tell Mr. Sneeble that he can just sit as close as he likes, and I'll just make out to myself I'm on a hayride with a stranger.
Oh, no, Aunt Bessie. Pretend you're still in love.
Don't be childish.
Listen, that's him. That's Stipple now.
It's now or never, Aunt Bessie. Oh, please help us. Give Uncle Gideon your hand.
For you, Blondie. There.
Good. Now look happy.
Yeah, look at the fire and smile or something. I've got to open this door.
Go ahead, Dagwood.
Oh, hello, Mr. Stipple. You're just in time. I mean...
You know me?
Sure, Mr. Dithers said...
Oh, yes, such a kindly character, Mr. Dithers.
Is that so? I mean, sure. Come right in.
Oh, are you sure I won't be intruding into your happy circle?
Oh, no, indeed. We've heard so much about you. I feel as if you were an old friend already.
Oh, you're very kind. Now I feel welcome. Oh, but I mustn't stay. It's enough that I have seen this happy home, been allowed for just a moment to cross its magic threshold, step into a world of content.
Oh, don't run away so soon there. Why, you haven't seen the place yet. Look, over by the fire. Honeymooners.
Ah.
And they want to meet you. We all do. I'm Blondie, and this is my husband, Dagwood Brunstead. And this is Aunt Bessie and Uncle Gideon Sneeble.
Good evening.
Pleased, I'm sure.
How do you do?
Now, won't you sit with us by the fire?
Oh, I mustn't disturb the happy couple. They were seeing castles in Spain in the embers, I'm sure, dreaming of their future together.
Dagwood, maybe Mr. Stipple is right, and the rest of us wrong.
I beg pardon?
I mean, well, you've never had a home of your own, have you, Mr. Stipple? A real home, I mean, with a wife.
No, I never have.
But perhaps you know more about what a home means than people who do have one.
You understand so well, little lady.
Oh, Blondie's great at understanding people.
Just the same, I think it might be a good thing if Mr. Stipple told us what he thinks a home should be.
Oh, well, it seems to me that a home need not be a large place. Never any larger than just big enough to hold the people in it close together. Its walls shut out the world and its troubles. The fire on its hearth, no matter how tiny a blaze, keeps out the cold and warms the hearts around it. A real home is a place where a man and a woman face life together, face it unafraid, laughing at misunderstanding, inviting contentment, finding beauty in the simple act of living day by day. Oh, but I mustn't take up any more of your time.
I think you've given us more than you've taken.
Oh, but you all know better than I what I've been trying to say. You all have a home, while I just peer in at the lighted window and wish you happiness. Oh, dear me, it's quite late. I really must go. Ah, another wayfarer attracted by the gleam of your fire.
Bumstead! What makes it so quiet in here?
Why, Mr. Stipple was just telling
Mr.
us...
Stipple? Well, you got here, I see.
I'm most happy to say that I did. I've met the most charming people.
Huh? The Bumsteads, you mean?
Oh, and their relatives, Aunt Bessie and Uncle Gideon.
Bumstead? Where are they?
Right over there. The ones holding hands.
Those two?
Uh-huh.
By the fire?
Perhaps you're surprised to find a honeymoon couple who are not, young people. But they're all the happier to find each other later in life. It's not only for the young I want to build my little homes, Mr. Dithers.
Oh, you've decided to go ahead with your idea?
Oh, yes, indeed. This house is what I've been looking for all along. Why, it's perfect. It's so snug, so peaceful.
Peaceful? Oh, yes, indeed. Maybe if we're going to talk business, we ought to go over to the office.
I was about to suggest it. Good night to you all, and I do thank you so much for a happy visit.
Good night.
Yeah, good night. Mr. Dithers, before you go.
Tomorrow, Bumstead, don't you worry. I won't forget what you've done for me. Oh, I don't know how you did it.
Well, I guess everything's all right, Dagwood.
Yeah. Dithers sounded as pleased as he ever does. Hey, Aunt Bessie, Uncle Gideon.
They've gone, Aunt Bessie.
Yeah, but don't start yelling again, Aunt Bessie, until Mr. Stipple is out of hearing.
Oh, I don't feel much like yelling. That man made me, kind of ashamed. Me with a fine man like Gideon and treating him the way I have.
Oh, now, Bessie, it was all my fault. Taking you into that big barn of a house and getting all excited because you had a few of your folks drop in.
Suppose you moved to a small house, a cozy little place, like this.
Oh, Gideon, could we?
Could we? We have. From now on, we live here, Bessie.
Well, Dagwood, looks as though it's our move next. Come on.
Huh?
The honeymooners want to be alone.
Oh.
Come, dear. We'll pick up our things in the morning. Good night, Bessie and Gideon.
No, they don't even hear you, Blondie.
No. Look at them. It would do Stipple good to see them now.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of that fireplace.
Yeah. That's a nice fireplace. That's our regular 413A. The hearth where happy hearts will spend a lifelong honeymoon.
Blondie is played by Penny Singleton and Dagwood by Arthur Lake, whose new Columbia picture, Blondie Brings a Baby, will soon be released. So till next Monday, we leave the Bumsteads, Blondie and Dagwood. But the makers of Camel cigarettes have other radio treats for you during the week. Tomorrow night over these same stations, you can listen to the music of Bob Crosby and the best Dixieland band in the land with Johnny Mercer and Helen Ward. And if you like swing, well, you'd better make a date with your radio for Saturday night, when Benny Goodman and the world's greatest swing band with Mildred Bailey bring you another musical caravan. That's a tip for your radio pleasure. And for your smoking pleasure, let us suggest that you try Camels. You'll find more pleasure per puff, more puffs per pack. This is Bill Goodwin speaking for the makers of Camel cigarettes. Good night. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.